So a lot of drivers are saying that they really want to do RGN. They want to do oversized loads. They want to haul equipment, right? But do you really know what you're getting into when you start hauling these oversized loads? These big, excavators like I got on a trailer right here. It's not too big of an excavator. It's just a 210. It's not too big, about 50,000 pounds, 55,000 pounds, right? But do you really know what you're getting into and know what you're doing when you make this decision? Are you ready for this? Are you prepared for pulling these type of loads? Can you operate these machines, right? Do you know how to run your logbook? Are you prepared for only running during the day and not at night in certain states? Well, in this video, we're gonna go over the pros and cons to running oversized freight. All right, so stay tuned. Let me unload this thing, and as soon as I unload this thing, I'll be right back and we'll get straight into it. All right.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
All right, so we got that sucker unloaded. We about to get up out of here and head on down to the port so we can pick up a rail car. One of my regular customers that I pull machines for, whatever, a lot of times. But yeah, man, so a lot of guys, they wanna, I wanna do heavy haul. I want to do oversized loads. You know what I'm saying? I want to do, haul equipment. All of these different type of things, right? Which is cool, but they really don't know what they're getting themselves into. And man, listen, y'all know me who watch my videos. Y'all know how I am. I don't hate. I want everybody to get in the game, you dig, and make their money, make their paper. Like, go on ahead and make your paper, you know what I'm saying? Definitely do that. But at the same time, don't come mess up the game, you know what I mean? Listen, y'all see, running these RGNs, you gotta unload this stuff, man. You gotta unload this freight by yourself. A lot of times they'll help you, and I didn't take no heavy equipment course or nothing like that. I just been operating equipment for a long time, because of driving trucks. And I used to work in the oil field and work and do pile driving work, with cranes and stuff like that. So, I kind of know how to do this stuff. But if you don't know how to do it, guess what? You're gonna learn. You're gonna have to learn. There is no, well, can you load it? No, you're gonna have to load it, right? Like, they don't want to be responsible. Every now and then they will load stuff up for you, but most of the time you gotta load your own stuff, man. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. And there's like machines that I don't like to load, like the man lifts. That's not really my jam. That's not what I like to deal with, you know what I mean? But that's as far as loading equipment, and sometimes that equipment moves, the hydraulics leak down, it's a bunch of stuff, so you're gonna be, you need to be ready to learn how to run equipment if you don't know, okay? You need to be, get on YouTube, stuff like that. Start getting, if you're not doing this yet, obviously, because I'm talking to the people who wants to do low boy and RGN work, well, you need to go on ahead and start watching videos now on how to operate equipment. Don't wait. Start, your excavators, your dozers, your man lifts, your scissor lifts, stuff like that is gonna be a common thing that you're gonna be operating, right? And you have to learn how to load this stuff, like I said. You know what I mean? So, definitely start now. You know what I mean? Now, when it comes down to oversize, right? A lot of guys, they're used to running dry van freight, flatbed freight, you know, just regular legal loads. Well, how is that gonna work when it comes down to running oversized loads where in your average state that you're in, you're gonna have to shut down at night and you can't start, you know, until the sun comes up in the morning, right? You're gonna have to, you know, if you not used to running like that, you're gonna have to adjust that, right? And deal with your logbook with that. You're gonna have to book it. You gotta get your loads and get it. You don't have time to stop, get lunch, go to the truck stop. No, especially when you have big oversized loads and you have escorts. All right, when you have a real tall load and you can't go everywhere, you know, and you have to stay on the route. You know what I mean? Versus just a little 9-10 foot wide load. But that's a big difference. You know what I'm saying? You know, you have to stay on route, right? You have escorts with you. You have a bunch of people with you that you know, everybody has to stop at one time and use the bathroom at one time, stuff like that, man. Listen, you gotta be prepared for this type of stuff, all right? You know, when you're dealing with these big old loads, you know, big wide loads, big heavy loads, stuff like that, guess what? You gotta stay on your route. You gotta pre-plan your route, right? You have to understand you might only get 2-3 hours of driving once you load the load up. Are you gonna load it in the morning, or are you gonna load it in the afternoon or in the evening? All of these type of things come into play. And remember, we're just talking about as a driver. We're not talking about if you dispatching yourself, if you're under your own authority and you gotta do packets, if you're trying to figure out if the broker is approved for credit, you know, all of these type of things, pricing, you know, this is extra skills that you have to learn in this business. You know what I mean? How to quote the load, how to, you know, run under your own authority. It's a lot of different things, man. You know, I'm just talking to you right now. This video is mainly to drivers, right? You know, but if you're thinking about running an RGN or low boy and you're gonna put it on under your own authority, you know, you're gonna dispatch yourself. These are things to think about, man. This is, once again, this ain't no game. You dig? Like this take dedication, hard work, and you're gonna learn skills. You have to learn a lot of skills. You know, what's the next thing? Well, what areas are you gonna run? You know what I mean? Are you gonna run down south? Or are you gonna run up north? Are you gonna run a northeast corner? Or are you gonna run the Midwest? I advise you to don't go out west at all if you don't have to, right? But where you gonna run at, right? Because you need to learn your lanes. You need to learn where you're, you know, I run in the south with these oversized loads all the time. I kind of basically know all the routes. I know, you know, the curfews in different states. I know what the permits are gonna cost. I know about what I can pay, you know, for escorts, you know, these type of things. Why? Because I run the same places over and over and over again. When you're running all over the country, guess what? You're gonna forget, right? And you're gonna have to, you need to be, when it's time to quote a load, you need to be able to quote a load like that. You don't have time to be, you know, let me look at it and see how much it's gonna cost for permits and escorts and all that, and fuel and all that, and let me get back with you. You don't have time to tell a broker that. You need to go on ahead when they say, hey, I got a, you know, a 210 excavator, 55,000 pounds, going from, you know, New Orleans, Louisiana to Houston, Texas. You need to be able to spit off, hey, look, I need to be around 25. Because you know you'll take 2,000, 1,800, depends on how the market is, but you need to fire that off, 2,500, right? Don't wait on him to come back. But if you gotta, you know, come back, because I already know permit gonna be $150 in Louisiana plus service charges 20, so that's 170. Then you got 214 in Texas plus 20, so that's 234. I already know that, right? That's gonna automatically be taking out my rate, right? So, and then it's a heavy load, right? So you got to think about these type of things, guys, right? So that's for when it comes down to the those type of things. Now, I'm gonna go on ahead and book it so I can get to my next load, and I gotta make some phone calls. But I'll be right back, and we're gonna talk about how does that work with running these type of loads as a newbie when you're either working for a company, you're leased on, or under your own authority? All right, you're a newbie and you're trying to, make a decision on how to get into the RGN game, the low boy game, right? Double drop, as they call it, right? Removable gooseneck. And you're a newbie, whether you're, you don't have a truck, but you want to go learn it and drive to someone, or maybe you do have a truck and you want to, get a trailer, and either lease on or run your own MC. Well, I'm gonna give you some insights on both sides on, certain ways, certain things to think about before you start this journey, right? Earlier, we talked about a lot of different things when it came down to, as the driving part of it, right? Covering the loads and the time of travel and knowing how to load the machine and stuff like that. But now we're gonna get into more of the, logistical side of things, mostly for, we're not gonna really talk about a driver per se. We're just gonna talk about, like, being an owner. Should you lease on or should you start your own authority, right? I'm gonna give you the pros and cons to both sides. I've done it both ways. I have, trucks under my own authority right now, and I also have trucks that's under another authority that's not mine, but I'm partnered up with a guy. But basically, that authority is older, is seasoned. My authority is new. I had authority years ago as well, but I lost it, whole bankruptcy thing and all that, so started from scratch. Anyway, that's not the point. So the point is this. If you're new, let's say that you have scenario one, you don't have a truck, and you're trying to get in the game, and you want to get on RGN, what should you do? Well, what should you do is you need to work your way from the bottom. And when I say the bottom, I'm not talking about from the very, very bottom of starting from a drive van and just starting to hit the road and stuff like that. No, I'm saying go, you don't have a truck, go, get a lease truck or lease to own, or go buy a truck and lease it on with a company and start with step deck, right? Start running oversized loads with step deck, maybe a step deck with ramps. You'll be surprised the amount of money that you can make with a step deck hauling oversized loads. I promise you will be surprised, right? 10 to 15 grand a week if you do it right and if you're getting the loads. They have some good companies out there that, that you can start out with. Get with a company, especially if you're thinking about going on your own. One day with your own authority and you want to book your own loads and stuff like that, you need to get with a company that will possibly in the future allow you to self-dispatch, or at the very least put you in the mix with the loads to where you're really learning about the market, where to go, where not to go, stuff like that, to where you can pick your own loads, not to where you're basically being babyfied, right? You really don't want that if you're planning to be on your own one day, right? And have your own authority, stuff like that. That's how I would do it. I've done it, get with a, a decent company. When you're checking these companies out, make sure that their safety score is low. Make sure that they have enough cargo insurance, because when you get these low boy loads, a lot of these loads are gonna require $250,000 or more, $500,000, stuff like that, right? Like on my company, I have $250,000. Their standard insurance is $100,000. That's all you need to just run an authority, and that's what most people have, $100,000. Me myself, I have $250,000 in cargo, and what I do whenever I get big machines and they need a lot more insurance, I just get extra insurance for that one load or for that week, right, with my insurance company, and that's how I do it. Now, different companies do it different ways, but that's just some of the questions to ask and make sure, okay? And if you want to look up their safety score or whatever, just look it up, type it in, get their DOT number or MC number, type it in the Safer Snapshot, look it up, and you'll be able to see what type of operation they're running. And the reason why I'm saying it is because dealing with these high value loads, they're going to tell you, hey, look, your safety score is too high. we can't use you. So that's something that you got to think about, right? So that's mainly for my guys that's just starting out. They want to, like lease on, right? Now let's talk about, because I want to make this video short. I don't want it too long. Let's talk about the guys who's thinking about getting their own truck, or they got their own truck and they want to start their own authority brand new. Well, let me tell you this. If you want to do that, hey, do it. Go for it, right? I'm doing it right now, right? This is my second go around of doing this. But let me say this. Be ready. Like, be ready. You have to be ready. Ready for what, Marco? Ready for brokers telling you no, okay? Literally telling you no. Why is that? Because your authority is so new. You're dealing with big loads, heavy loads. They don't want to give you the loads. Now, let me tell you, would that stop me if I were you? No. If you really want to do it, go do it. Because you got to get started. Like, you have to start the insurance, start running under it, and getting that experience, filling out the carrier packets, getting in the system, pulling loads, right? Some people won't even give you a load if you didn't have an inspection on your company, which is weird, right? But some brokers are like that. But hey, it is what it is. How did I get around a lot of stuff? Well, because I've hauled so many loads for so many brokers. Literally, a lot of brokers already have me in their contacts. Like, when I text them about a load, or we're talking about something, and I give them my phone number or whatever, I give them my name, or I tell them, hey, look, I ran with you before, man. They'll be like, oh yeah, Marco, what's up? Like, you got to remember, I had 3 RGNs running at one time at one point. 3 RGNs and 2 step decks. So I'm like running these loads for these people with all my name on it. I'm booking all the loads. They see my name in the emails, so they're familiar with me, right? I'm the one sending them pictures of the loads back and forth. They're familiar with me. So then I had a guy say, hey, look, have you ever hauled anything like this? I booked the load with him, and it's like, have you ever hauled anything like this? Do you have experience with these loads? Guess what I did? Simple. I just sent them my YouTube channel, literally. I was like, hey, man, I haul these loads all the time. Sent them my YouTube channel. He was like, oh, wow, okay, yeah, man, I should always call you. Yeah, you should, right? You think? So that's what I did. So, this is another reason why I keep telling everybody they need to have a YouTube channel. They need to record their journey in doing these things. If it wasn't for me, sidebar right quick, if it wasn't for me really having to, like, build this company that I'm building the way that I'm building it, and I'm like all over the place doing so much, and my phone rings all day. Like, the only reason why I'm really be able to record this video is because it's 9 o'clock at night, and my phone is just now slowing down, right? But if it was just me, one truck, booking loads and just doing my thing, and my phone wasn't just, I didn't have to like really give attention over there. Listen, I got 2 cameras. I have one like a GoPro style, and I have this a DJI. I would probably have a drone and everything. And man, when I tell you, I would be acting a fool with content. If you're watching this and you're someone who's driving a truck, I don't care if you're driving a drive-in right now, pull your phone out, start making some content, because one day it's going to be valuable. So that was my sidebar. Now back to the topic. All right, so be ready for brokers to tell you no. Just be prepared for that. Be prepared to pay whatever your bills is. Y'all know me. If you're going to start a new authority, definitely make sure that your truck note, trailer note is very low, or preferably paid for. All right? Like, please, I'm telling you guys, especially right now, the fuel's high. Marco ain't hating on nobody. I just want to give raw game, right? I just want to see y'all succeed out there and have your best shot. If your money not right and your equipment is not paid for, go lease on. Why? Because you can stop and drop the insurance. You can just stop running your truck if you want to, and tell the people, hey, I want to take a week or 2 off or whatever, and they probably won't, charge you no fees. But when you're on your own authority, man, once you sign up for that insurance, once you get that ELD, once you get whatever your overhead is, you have to pay that. And you can't stop paying it. So I would take baby steps, right, and work my way up. But hey, Maybe you got a bunch of credit cards. Maybe you got a big stash in the bank, and you can do that. Also another thing, y'all notice that my trucks only run in the South. Mostly. I'm starting to venture out a little bit in the Midwest, just to see if we can, I'm testing some things out in the market, the current market, just to see, if we can just gross more and just make more money. If it's not gonna happen, we're going right back to the old model and just, the original model and just run in the South, right? But another thing to help with when you have your own authority and you going to step out with a brand new authority, especially with an RGN, you need to open up your lanes. You kind of need to take, I am not going to say anything, but you can't be picky. You cannot be picky, because your goal is you need to work as hard as possible, get as much money to get past the first 90 days, then get past the first 6 months, then get past the first year. And after that, you good as golden, all right? So hopefully this video has been edifying for y'all, educating y'all with some good valuable information. If that is the case, go on ahead and smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Once again, my name is Marco Perkins with Trucking the Cash Flow, where I help owner operators and truck drivers in the open deck field, learn about this, and hopefully they can start their own business and start their journey as a owner operator or truck driver in the open deck market. So with that being said, I'm gonna sign off. I'll see y'all in the next video. All right, peace.